Hi,
I'm Josh.
I'm Mordy,
I'm Mike.
and we are from
613,
and you are watching Jewish Music Toronto.
Cause Uptown Passover's coming to you. Cause Uptown Passover's coming to you. Say to the night and we save you a spot. Don't be slaving, just now. Hit it. Oh, you had a good Shabbos. Cause we're counting up to 8. We escaping off of faith.
I'm very excited today. We have a special interview, and it's all part of Jewish Music Week. These New York-based 12-time award-winning Jewish acapella singers have 7 albums to their group's name, including the 2012 Contemporary Acapella Recording Awards winning Volume 4, it's my name. Their sound and style is enjoyed by over 21,000 subscribers, and their videos have been watched by nearly 10 million people on YouTube alone.
Hopefully rising.
And they've been featured on ABC, NBC, Bustle, and Time, and have performed for the former President and First Lady of the United States of America, Barack and Michelle Obama. It's 613, and joining me today from 613 is Mordy Weinstein. Thank you so much.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
So we're going to chat a little bit today about Jewish Music Week.
Fantastic.
And about your show and about 613.
Awesome.
So I want to get started actually with 613 itself.
Sure.
Many a cappella groups get together at universities or colleges, and I know that the story is similar for you guys. Actually, I was in a university a cappella group myself, so I want to know, how did you guys actually get your start?
Yeah, so actually the group itself has been around for around 15 years or so. The guys who originally started the group met in college, met at Binghamton University. They were singing most of them were singing in a Jewish a cappella group called Kas, and they graduated college and thought, hey, this was a lot of fun. We don't get to do this so much anymore. Can we maybe keep singing even though we're not in college?
Right.
And they decided to keep doing it. And since then, some membership has changed. Guys have gotten older, gotten married, had kids, moved out of state, whatever it is. And the current group is the way it is now, sort of through the larger Jewish music singing world. We've met each other and gotten to know one another through various singing jobs and through different contexts. So we are who we are now because of that.
What part do you actually play in the arrangement?
I usually sing baritone for the most part, although depending on the day or the song, I will sing either bass or tenor one if need be.
Fair enough. We are in the very same boat, you and I.
Yeah, all right.
As I shared earlier, you guys have been featured on major American TV networks. You also played Shea Stadium, Citi Field, Madison Square Garden. What's been your favorite performance to date?
Ooh, that's a great question. It's weird. My favorite performances are not like the flashy ones. The cheap answer would be to say the White House, because that was the most wild experience.
It can be honest.
Yeah.
It can be a very honest answer. It's the White House.
Was, as a day, like that entire day was just wild. We woke up, rented cars, drove down to D.C., spent however long being vetted and making sure that all our equipment was up to standards, bomb-sniffing dogs, etc. And then they ushered us into this room. It wasn't even a guarantee that we were going to sing for or meet the Obamas. They told us, it's a possibility, we can't guarantee anything. And they said, okay, we're going to take you to a private room, prepare 45 seconds of a song. It can be no longer than 45 seconds. We're like, okay, yeah, sure. And we sang something, and it ran 48 seconds, and they said, cut 3 seconds of it.
So basically, instead of going, you want to...
Yeah, exactly. We said, thank you. And so we performed, we waited there for a little bit, and then sure enough, the Obamas came in, and it was just, the whole thing was completely surreal. Seeing them in person is a very, very different kind of experience than seeing them on TV.
Yeah, I bet.
And they were very personable. They were down to earth. We were talking to them, we were chatting with them a little bit. Just sort of, they asked us what we do, and we were just, talking. And they had to get back to meeting, thousands of people, of course. But for us, that's, those are however many minutes, 6-7 minutes that will, stay etched in the brain forever. And that's.
Did you get a picture with them as well?
Yes, absolutely. And I think if you check on Facebook, I would say probably of the 6 of us, it's probably all of our cover photos on Facebook. So it was it's a pretty
I guess
popular
I'll have to see if
picture.
I can take the time to do that.
Of course.
The 613 sings a bevy of parodies from DNCE to Taylor Swift, Frozen to Bruno Mars, and his Facebook page actually shared your Uptown Passover cover.
Yes.
But beneath that is a strong base of traditional and contemporary Jewish music, including loads of 613 originals.
Yes.
So can you share some of the influences behind that music?
Sure. It's interesting. People know us for the parodies because those are on YouTube, and that's got the largest audience. But the stuff that we really try and push forward, and the stuff that we really work hard on, are the 613 originals. The ones that we spend the time crafting and making sure that they fit within the type of music that we want to put out and the type of music that we feel passionately about. The influences are so wide ranging, it's impossible to nail them down. It ranges, I would say, from like Take Six to like Bruno Mars, let's say.
Wow. Okay.
So we actually, on the most recent album, I'm just thinking in terms of that, we have a song called Gam Ki Elech, which is sort of a gospel influenced song, very tight jazz harmonies, like that sort of vibe.
All right.
And yet we also have some tracks that, like, we have a hip hop track on the same album. So the music is sort of grounded in whatever we're listening to at the time, which, I think is what keeps us fresh and what keeps us honest as musicians. It's what we listen to, and so that's the stuff that we're hearing and that we're feeling, and that's the stuff that we feel that we should put out and put forward. But at the core of it all is the grounding in Jewish texts and Jewish traditions. So the texts that we choose are important texts from the liturgy, or lyrically they're important pieces. Things,
so
messages that are important.
We are getting a rap call for a moment here.
Right.
I'm not sure who from. I think it was Josh who just came around. So we're gonna stop here, and hopefully it'll just be a quick break. Otherwise, maybe we can catch up after your performance. Sure. We've now jumped to the future. This is now after the show. Suddenly, how did that happen? I don't know. I'm going to continue where I left off, but first of all, I do want to say, oh my God, wow. I've not gotten to see you guys live in person until now. Mind blown.
Well, thank
Lots
you.
of fun, and just an experience.
I'm glad it exceeded expectations.
It absolutely blew my mind.
Fantastic.
Okay, so we were talking about your base in traditional music and contemporary Jewish music.
Mm-hmm.
I want to, now that we've gotten that settled, turn to the parodies.
Sure.
I'm curious about how you guys pick the songs that you cover and what the parody process is like.
Yeah, it's an interesting question because it kind of changes every time a little bit. We're always kind of looking for that perfect song, like the song that's super fun and super popular, and the lyrics work easily for some sort of theme, especially about a holiday that's coming up. It's a little tricky to find songs that fit so perfectly, songs that are so huge and so much fun, like this energy bottled up that just explodes out of the song. Songs like Shake It Off or Uptown Funk, like those were like the perfect songs. And especially now as music moves more towards like a more of like a slow jam kind of vibe in general in a lot of music, it's even harder to find songs like that. But we're generally looking for something that's really fun and upbeat, so that because people connect to that more, and people are able, to sort of get on board and get behind that and say, like, yeah, this is fun. No matter what the content is, they say, like, yeah, I like listening to this song.
It's
I want to hear it.
danceable.
Exactly, it's danceable. It's like a celebration, because a lot of what we're trying to do is celebrate Jewish traditions, celebrate our holidays, celebrate the things that we find meaning in, things that we take pride in, and making sure that that's a message that we get across to our fans. So if a song hits those bullet points, then it's the perfect song for us. And it's tricky. It's not easy to find, but once we sort of settle on a song or settle on a path, we sort of pool our meeting of the minds and brainstorm and try to come up with lyrics that fit the rhyme scheme, and they don't go too far afield, and they're a little playful, and they're accessible, for families and kids of all ages, but that also tell the story and then provide some sort of meaning for people who run the gamut, from people who don't have much of a Jewish background in education, to people who have grown up listening to Jewish music and grown up celebrating Jewish holidays their entire lives. So we want it to be accessible across boundaries and across denominations.
So with so many different Jewish acapella groups out there doing parody covers, You got the Maccabees, the Weistas, Tizmoret. How do you guys differentiate yourselves and your parodies from the other groups?
It's tricky. It's interesting. Over the past couple of years, I would say those three groups, specifically the Maccabees, the Weistas, and 613, have begun like falling into like little specific niches within the Jewish parody game.
Right.
The Weistas have been putting out these like really, really high production value videos that are like they did the
I
greatest
would say
Passover.
so, yeah. Oh my
Their
goodness,
the
the
La
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 Land
Land
thing was crazy. Like all their productions are, with choreography and cinematography is really high quality stuff, and they tackle big songs. And over this past Hanukkah, they also tackled like a pretty big concept. They were talking about anti-Semitism, and they really sort of changed the narrative in terms of the Jewish parodies for Hanukkah. Usually they're very upbeat and fun, and they kind of toned it down and said, let's focus on this serious issue. So the Weisses are always sort of trying to pull these like really, really big concepts and these big ideas, and it's awesome to see them because they always do it. Like they do such a great job. They bring in dancers and they bring
The
in
La La Land Passover, that was just, especially the choreography.
Yeah.
Like you're doing that
Unbelievable.
all in a grocery store, and you have to work with the aisles, and you have to work with the freezers.
And they did it, and they had a choreographer and they had dancers. It was the whole production was unbelievable. When that video came out, we were like, wow, that's so cool, so cool. The Maccabees sort of have a different role because they were the first to really explode with a major
Dynamite
parody
was-
video.
well,
Candlelight
Dynamite was down-
Candlelight
yeah,
was and still
Candlelight.
is like that's like the benchmark. That's the video that like everybody points to, and there's still people at their shows. People are still screaming, "Sing Candlelight, sing Candlelight." It's to this day, and that was
Well, it's
8
still a
years
good
ago. At this
song
point,
as well.
It's a great song. I mean, the song itself, the original Dynamite, was on the radio for months and months,
Right.
and people still sing it at weddings all the time. So they had that, and they sort of have the duty, and they've really taken it upon themselves that they need to sort of be the ones to like shoulder that burden, and
That's
they
a lot of
forge
weight.
forward. It's a lot of weight, and they rise to the occasion. They're always putting out different things, whether it's their parodies, and they're trying a new angle with some of the parodies. They did something for Hanukkah this past year, which was sort of a reflection of the past 8 to 10 years of their journey and how Candlelight has taken them from place to place and how it's shown them different Jewish communities around the world. Or whether it's the video they just put out, which is like a more of a kumsitz, kind of like a Jewish gathering of people from different backgrounds singing traditional Jewish songs that, not the parody style, more of like the really songs that people gather together and sit around in a circle and sing to each other and create that kind of warm environment. So they're always constantly trying to figure out, how do we move from being the group that put out Candlelight to being a group within our own right? And they do such an amazing job. And they sit and they think and they figure out how to make that next video and what's going to be the message behind it.
And you guys?
What we're trying to do is we take a little bit of we try to be the group that takes our music very seriously and yet take ourselves incredibly not seriously. We're a bunch of guys that we like to have a lot of fun. We're very dorky. And we're
definitely comes across in the videos.
Yeah, I mean, in the Shake It Off video, for example, it's just a video of us dancing in different costumes like complete maniacs. And that's people identify with that because it's about Jewish pride and Jewish joy, and it's like a display of unbridled joy and energy. And yet at the same time, we're also trying to make sure that the music sort of stands on its own and the music is first and foremost. The other thing that we try to do, and it's a little tricky, is that the members of 613 kind of run the gamut in terms of religious background. We have guys who grew up with, going to synagogue 3 times a day and, praying on a regular basis and going to Jewish day school or whatever it is. And we have guys who grew up with very little Jewish background. And that's we want to create this little microcosm of the way we think Jewish life should be, which is, it doesn't matter what your denomination is. It doesn't matter what your background is. We can all come together, especially with music as a vehicle. We can all come together and cross those boundaries and join together for the power of music and for the power of Judaism as a religion and as a unifying concept.
I think that really came across tonight as well. And you guys are probably going to be performing again tonight with the Ruach Singers.
Yes.
So yeah, it really shows, especially because you're here in Beth Sholom, which is a conservative shul. It shows the fact that music really can unify.
Yeah, and I think all 3 groups, and this goes for all the groups, is really, the really amazing thing that's come out of this sort of world of Jewish acapella is that people, kids especially, they identify with the idea that we're Jews and we're sort of cool, like we're performing and we're up on stage, and to a lot of the younger kids, we're like, not to toot our own horn, but we're like rock stars, and we're Jewish, and it's making Jewish cool, and that's the thing that people can get on board with. We get emails about people who are able to take pride in their Judaism because of stuff that we do, stuff that the Maccabees do, stuff that the Weistuds do. That's something way beyond anything we thought we'd ever be able to accomplish as a singing group, and it's an incredible burden, and yet it's an incredible honor to sort of take that role.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's much deeper than I was expecting we were going to go to. Okay, maybe this question can get somewhere close to there, but I wasn't expecting to even go. A couple of serious challenges that face groups, especially university a cappella groups, are the question of what happens after school, and when members leave, maybe because they're moving away, professional stuff, school obligations, work obligations, whatever it is. How has 613 managed to stay so strong after all these years?
It's a great question. We've been incredibly blessed. Through the years, we've sort of, there's been a growing contingent of Jewish a cappella singers in sort of a freelancing and agency kind of way. So there are a lot of bar and bat mitzvahs and a lot of weekend getaways, Shabbatons, and there are a lot of people who go away and sort of form these little ad hoc improvised singing groups.
We can take a moment here to say that 613 is available for bar bat mitzvahs, weddings, and the like.
Please hire us for your next bar or bat mitzvah.
Thus ends plug.
Always plug, always. So through that, a lot of members of 613 actually do some of that on the side, on weekends if we're not busy. Some of us will go and sort of sing as part of these little improvised groups. And through that little network, we actually meet a lot of other singers who are incredibly talented. And we've always got our eye out for the next guy who can come along, who's someone who's really stands out, and someone who sings and who's got a really great sense of what we do and who we think we could fit in. And we keep them in mind. If it comes up that someone's leaving, that someone is going to start taking on certain responsibilities that's going to preclude them from taking part in our workload and whatever it is. So we're always sort of looking around, and we've been really lucky over the past number of years. I think the group now is stronger than it's ever been musically, talent-wise. We've sort of taken things to a new level, and that's because we're constantly looking for who's better than the people that are in the group right now. Who can do what we do even better, and how can we bring them in? How do we incorporate them into what we're doing?
So I want to focus now on tonight's show.
Sure.
I've had to change this question because I was expecting to ask it earlier.
Got it.
But I'll do my best with it. So looking at Jewish Music Week now and tonight's show, you took to the stage, and you're also going to potentially be taking again to the stage with Ruach singers, Cantor Gideon Zeller-Meyer, Amanda Levine, as part of the celebration of Cantor Eric Moses' 18th anniversary here at Beth Sholom Synagogue, in which he may be performing right now.
Maybe. We can't say.
So what was it like preparing for a show like this?
It's a good question. It's similar in some ways to a lot of shows that we've done because, we're preparing our own material and our own stuff and making sure that it's polished and clean and ready to present. And yet, there are certain things that are a little different. We want to sort of make sure that some of the talking bits that we're doing are focused on Jewish music. We want to make sure we sort of touch on those topics rather than sort of just, joking around about being a bunch of guys who like to sing or whatever it is. We want to talk about the serious parts of Jewish music and a little bit of, kind of the behind the scenes of how Jewish music is made. And we're always trying to push the envelope a little bit, something like Gam Kielech, for example, is that was beautiful. I mentioned it before.
Absolutely.
It's a text that's there are so many different melodies for that text, and it's a really, really powerful text. Walking through the valley of the shadow of death and knowing that God is with you and God is able to shelter you and provide you with warmth and comfort. And there are a lot of versions of that song and a lot of versions that are really, really popular that people sing all the time. But we felt there was a kind of version that wasn't yet tapped, and we wanted to sort of it's ambitious, the version that we try, and it's an original tune. Harmonically, it's very challenging. It's hard to sing, but that's something that we're trying to do. We're trying to take Jewish music from the music that you sing along with your friends, to the music that that you could hear and that you would listen to, whether it's Jewish music or not. Music that you could sort of just have on your iPhone or whatever it is, and you plug it in, and you go like, I just like this. Not like, oh, I'm gonna listen to Jewish music now, but I'm gonna listen to some music. And this is a song that you can pop on.
It's a serious
because it's just
challenge.
Good music.
Yeah.
Forget the label of Jewish music. It's just good music. And that's something that we try to do a lot. And in particular for this show, we felt that was really important to showcase a little bit. It's fun to do the parodies, and it's really fun to have a lot of fun on stage and dance around. But when you get down to it, it's about making Jewish music more than just a Jewish version of stuff that people listen to. It's about making Jewish music into its own genre in its own right.
So I'm wondering, will you guys have the opportunity to take in any other shows from the festival, or are you guys gone?
It's
Out of
tough.
here.
Yeah, a lot of us, some of us are doing music full time, but a lot of us have day jobs, and so unfortunately some of us have to get back first thing tomorrow morning. I actually looked at the lineup for the festival, and it's stacked. I mean, we're sharing this festival with some really, really big names, and not just the Jewish Music Festival, but the Sing Festival that's happening at the same time. There are there are people that we know on a personal basis, on a group basis, that are coming in that, if I could stay for the rest of the week and through Sunday, I would, in a second, I would stay. I would love to hear some of the people that are speaking and hear some of the concerts. It's an incredible festival. I mean, looking at the lineup and looking at the schedule, it looks like a thing that should be happening across the world in Jewish communities, honestly.
That is a great idea. Somebody
Yeah.
out there has to do it.
Someone out there in New York, make it happen. There are a lot of people, a lot of Jews in New York. Always plug.
We
613 can headline. It's fine. Don't worry. It's fine. Anyway, sorry, you were saying.
we only have maybe a couple minutes left here, so let's get a little bit lighter. Since you've already performed for the President and the First Lady of the United States of America,
Yep.
who would you want to perform for next,
Ooh.
given the opportunity?
Okay. Touchy subject here in Toronto, but I'm a big Yankee fan. I would love, and I know that a number of the members of our group.
I don't want to talk about the Jays right now.
We've sung at Citi Field before, Yankee Stadium. We're big. Some of us are very, very big Yankee fans, including our director, Mike Boxer. Huge Yankees fans. We would love to perform Yankee Stadium. Places like that, big ball games would be a lot of fun. They're always a lot of fun, whether it's Citi Field or whether it's. We recently performed at an Arena Football League game in Philadelphia, which was so much fun. The Philadelphia Soul. It was Jewish Heritage Night. It was a lot of fun. But beyond that, I think, the personalities that we perform for are a little bit less, in a lot of ways, are less important to us than the venues and the people, the people that don't have the big names that come to our shows. It's more important for us to do a show, let's say like the one we just did downstairs, where, 500 people, 750 people, whatever it is, however many people are downstairs, people that don't have that aren't necessarily famous names, but that come to shows because they care about the stuff that we're doing. So, whether it's a show
It's not 45 seconds.
No.
It's like
Yeah,
real
exactly.
getting
It's
to
a
show
full
yourself
concert.
off.
We get to really, and we connect with the audience. We have a relationship with them for the course of a night. So whether that's in New York, in our hometown, or whether it's in Israel, or whether it's in Germany or England or whatever it is, those are the real fun things. Honestly, would love to go to Israel, to go back to Israel. We were there at this point about 4 or 5 years ago. We were there for a Shabbat Chatan. It was a weekend right before the wedding, honoring the groom, and we were joining the celebrations and we sang, and it was incredible. It was incredible to be in Israel, and we performed a concert while we were there. So we would love nothing more than to go back to Israel, sort of our second home, or our home away from home.
So you've nearly been on the sing-off at least 3 times.
Yes.
Do you think the group will be entering any more singing competitions anytime soon?
We do on occasion. The truth is, the Sing Off is a TV show, and so that it doesn't exist anymore. But it's produced such acts as Pentatonics, which we as an acapella act are very thankful for and very grateful to. But there are plenty of acapella competitions. There's a competition that goes on in Boston, DC, New York, and elsewhere. It's called the Harmony Sweepstakes, we've entered before. We came in second place once, and we won Best Original Song.
At least one of the awards that I mentioned earlier
Yeah.
is one of those awards.
Yeah, and that's a ton of fun to perform with, and meet some of the other groups in our that are local to our area. So we're always looking to perform in those kind of venues, whether it's in New York or San Francisco or whatever it may be. So yeah, we don't shy away from competition. We love competition because it just forces us to hone our craft and to get even better.
Yeah.
So if the Sing Up comes back, we'll definitely audition. Try to turn that corner and make it right onto the show. But if not, we're happy to continue doing what we do and take whatever competitions come our way, and just continue working on what we do and make sure it's as good as we can get it.
So in that vein, working on what you do, what else is 613 up to this year?
A lot. The main thing I think we're working on is focusing and really trying to build our sort of our grassroots social media following. It's something that we've neglected a while, but we're trying to build up a little bit because we've found people respond really, really well to stuff that we're doing in rehearsal. We have a good time in rehearsal. We'll perform a song. We'll practice something. We'll put a clip of it on Instagram or on Facebook, and people love it. And they're asking for more. So that's something we're trying to build a little bit. Just to have a little bit more fun in rehearsal in a way that's packageable and in a way that we can give it to the fans because they love hearing stuff and we love giving it to them. And there's a lot of great music out there that wants the 613 acapella treatment, and so it's our duty to give it to them.
That's fair.
So we're working on a lot of that stuff, and there's always the bigger videos. I think there's going to be a little bit more of a focus on original music coming up in terms of the video packaging, but that's all I can tell you without giving away too much more.
Okay. All right. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Exactly.
On 613 Sings.
Absolutely. 613 Sings.
Before we finish up, the people here watching this will sadly be missing out on hearing you tonight.
Yes.
On having heard you tonight, unless they were downstairs in the audience.
Right.
So, can you give maybe a taste of the 613 sound they should expect and maybe check out after watching this?
Oh, man. Put me on the spot.
You had a beautiful part in Capella.
Sure.
Can I have maybe like a...
Sure. My part in Capella is not the solo. It's not the flashy part, but it is the part that supports the solo. It's not going to sound great on its own, but I'll sing it. I'll sing it anyway. Vishavti beveit Hashem.
That's all you get. That's all you get. You have to check out 613 Sings to hear more. And thank you, Mordy.
Thank you.
Thank you to
Thanks,
613 for taking the time. You can find their music in the description below. I'm going to link some stuff so you can go and buy their music if you want. You can also find them right here on YouTube. I'm going to point over there. Hopefully that was the right direction. And you can also find them at 613.com. Remember to join me on Patreon to take part in spreading knowledge of Jewish music. Finally, subscribe and click the notification bell to get updates for new JMT videos as they come out. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.